everyone, so it's been so long since I've sat down and filmed a video. I've really missed doing YouTube, but I was spending so much time with Brooke while she was off school, and it was really nice, to be honest. I did want to film videos with her, but we were just out all the time, like doing stuff and just having fun, because it's been so long since we've spent such a long amount of time together, considering she's been, she's finished her whole first school year. Today she started year 1, which is really sad, but at the same time it's really exciting because it's going to be a whole new experience for her, and she was really excited. So yeah, it's been a little bit all over the place. My wedding is in just over 8 weeks as well, so I've been trying to get a lot of stuff sorted for that. I still want to do a video kind of talking about the build up of it and how I've kind of picked everything. I'm really sorry if the lighting isn't that good as well. I feel like it's really dark over on this side. It's a very miserable day today, so yeah. Anyway, I wanted to do a video today talking about HIIT cardio versus LISS cardio. The reason I wanted to talk about it is because I have watched a ton of videos about it, I've read up a lot about it, and thought that I completely understood it and knew what was best for me. But it's taken quite a while for me to realise that, for me personally, I prefer one over the other, and as to why. So I wanted to kind of go through what each of them are and just sort of my opinion on which one is better for different kinds of people, because I think that the thing that's so difficult is getting caught up in social media about what all fitness people do and trying to just completely replicate it to get the same results. And obviously that is a very unrealistic thing, and you are not going to get the results they get just by purely copying as to what they were doing now. I'll go more in depth about that in general in a different video, but I just want to mainly talk about kind of HIIT and LISS. If you didn't know what HIIT training is, it is high intensity interval training, and LISS is low intensity steady state. They are pretty much the opposite of each other, as I'm sure you can imagine. Generally with HIIT, what you will do is you will work at a maximum speed, or as basically as hard as you can for anywhere between 20 seconds and 45 seconds, doing one particular exercise. You will then rest for normally around 15 to 30 seconds, and then you'll keep repeating. The movements tend to be very explosive, they tend to be very plyometric, so you might be doing like jumping squats or like plyo push-ups and things like that. They are very, like they're supposed to get your heart rate pumping, so it's very high power, high speed, give it all that you've got. People generally tend to say that they do HIIT training for anywhere between 10 to 20 minutes. Then you've got LISS, which is low intensity steady state, and this could be anything from going out for a, kind of a faster paced walk, going on a bike ride, swimming, anything that you kind of keep at the same pace, but you tend to do it for a longer period of time. So it can really speaking, it can be from anywhere between half an hour to an hour. And the whole point is you kind of gradually increase your heart rate and just work at that steady state for a longer period of time. The one thing that I've found is that a lot of people suggest doing HIIT for a number of reasons, some of which I can completely see the reason as to why. But if you have a goal and you want to reach your goal, then you do obviously have to make sacrifices, and you do have to, work hard to achieve your goals. The first obvious benefit of HIIT is the fact that you don't generally have to do it for as long a period of time as you do LISS. So if you've only got time for a 20-minute session, that might be something that's absolutely perfect for you. Whereas obviously LISS, you tend to have to work for a lot longer to see a similar kind of calorie loss, or kind of how hard you feel like you've worked. Another thing is that a lot of people say that because your heart rate will spike and then you'll let it come down and then you'll let it spike again during HIIT training, that's going to be better. I think one important thing to remember is that I personally think that some form of cardio, even if it is just LISS, is very important. My cardiovascular system, my speed, my agility, my endurance is absolutely awful, and it always has been. I hated PE in school. I hated cross country. It was the worst thing for me because I felt I would get like the pain in your throat and in your chest where I wasn't breathing properly. And I just physically couldn't do it. I didn't have the energy to do it. I was very low energy. Also, being overweight definitely doesn't make any of it enjoyable as well for me. I think it's really important to include at least a very small amount into your lifestyle in general, not even necessarily into your gym routine, but just into your life, just to get your body moving, because for your overall health, that is going to make a huge difference. There's one thing being all toned and muscly and lean, but just being generally healthy is a completely different thing. Yeah, so a lot of people I feel like are recommending HIIT training, mostly for the reason that it's a very quick thing. You can get it done into a short amount of time. So for me, I was like, okay, so I'll start doing some HIIT training. And I tried it a few times and I hated it. I really did. And the thing that I find is that even though I've lost a fairly substantial amount of fat, I've also gained a very small amount of muscle. I do feel like my strength has increased a fair amount. I am still awful when it comes to any kind of fast-paced cardio. A lot of people doing HIIT might just do like sprints on the treadmill, which again I've tried to do, but it's something that's I've personally found very difficult. The way I see it is that in order for you to achieve brilliant results from doing HIIT, you have to work at a very, very fast pace for a very short amount of time. That sounds very easy, but doing the same movement, doing jumping squats, doing burpees for 45 seconds is a pretty substantial amount of time, and you would probably have to work at a fast pace, you would probably find yourself doing anywhere between 25 to maybe even 35 movements, because you'd want to start at a fast pace. You want to get your heart rate pumping. The thing that I would find is that I would feel exhausted very, very quickly, but I wouldn't feel like I'd worked hard. And I think one thing people get confused about is when you're just tired and you feel like you can't go on anymore, that doesn't necessarily mean that you've really pushed yourself. Whereas I can go on the treadmill for like anywhere between half an hour and 45 minutes, and I feel like I've really pushed myself. I really feel like I've got a sweat on. So I think if you're somebody who's never really worked out that much, doesn't do any cardio, I think that you should start off with LISS. Just purely for the fact that obviously it is easier, but it is something that you want to build yourself up to. If I went and tried to work out like somebody who'd been doing CrossFit training for a couple of years, I highly doubt I would be able to perform as well as they do, because it's something that they built up. Everybody has to start from somewhere, and watching these people do all these HIIT where they're absolutely dripping with sweat and they've really pushed themselves, they've got the power and the speed and the muscle to really drive them to do it. They will also have a lot more energy, probably because their diet's going to be really good and they've managed to get it to where it needs to be for them, get it to where it works for them. And if you're someone like me who's constantly trying to find the right balance and seeing what works best, it's not always a realistic thing. So if you are someone who's new, I would definitely start with LISS. Another thing that I have found is that I obviously enjoy doing weight training. I think it's one of the best forms of exercise. You know, it burns calories after rest. You building muscle will increase the amount of calories that your body burns in general anyway. I want to look more lean than just slim. I want to have some sort of muscle definition. So if I have trained legs and I still get very sore legs a couple of days after, there is no way I can do 45 seconds worth of burpees or jumping squats or in and out or jumping over a bench or anything like that, because my legs would be so sore, and it just completely put me off doing it at all. And obviously if you get put off doing something because you feel like you can't do something, the chances are you won't do it. Whereas I would easily be able to get on a treadmill and just do a fairly fast-paced walk for half an hour and just kind of let it stretch my muscles out, and I would still get a nice kind of sweat on. So very often what I found is that I just felt like I had to choose between one or the other. I'd either do a HIIT session or I would do a weight, you know, like a weight training session, because for me, I just didn't feel like I could do both at the same time, whereas doing some LISS with weight training felt more realistic. Obviously it takes me a lot longer, but if that's what it's going to take for me to reach my goals, then that's exactly what I'm going to do. So like I've mentioned, everyone has to start from somewhere, and you do have to build yourself up to things. You do have to, you know, and I've said before, even if you start with body weight exercises before you even pick up a dumbbell, something is better than nothing. But I think the number one thing that I always try and tell myself is my body and how the outcome of what I want is 80% diet and only 20% exercise. You can train all you like. If you have an awful diet, if you're eating like 3,000 calories a day, which I think wouldn't be very difficult for a lot of people, you are not going to see weight loss. You are not going to see the results you want to see. So personally, I prefer to focus more time and energy on what I'm eating, and then pick up the kind of gym stuff after. If it's something that you enjoy, then it's the perfect thing for you. But trying to copy people who are lean, who have reached their goals, who have not only reached their goals, but maybe, you know, they're bulking or they're cutting, you don't always know what somebody's doing. So to copy what they do exactly is not going to be very helpful. If you are somebody who's maybe been doing this for a long time and you feel like you've not got any results doing that, but you feel like you would want to try HIIT, then put together some moves that you think would be good for you. Or alternatively, if you are somebody who wants to incorporate HIIT into your routine, but maybe you don't want to do a full HIIT session, you can incorporate plyometric moves into your weight training session. So on leg day, you would do jumping squats, you would do like maybe jumping up onto a step or a bench. On arm day, you could do some plyometric push-ups. There's so many different ways that you can incorporate some kind of plyo. And as soon as you do plyometric into it, then you are going to be sort of pumping up that heart rate a little bit more, which will then kind of give you a little bit of that HIIT aspect. Generally what I find anyway is when I'm doing weight training, whilst I'm doing an exercise movement, shoulder press, my heart rate is going to be pumping. I'm working hard, I'm getting a sweat on, and then I have a rest period. So in a sense, it can almost be looked at like HIIT without you having to do these massive explosive movements. So your heart rate is going to be going up and down as you are exercising anyway. Personally, I think you should just do what's best for you. If you're unsure, maybe try a week of LISS, a week of HIIT, just to see how you feel. But I would primarily focus on weight training, as once you start to see more fat loss, you will then be able to tweak it. If you do want to get more lean, you will be able to increase the weights, increase your protein, or if you want to maintain, you can still just do a maintenance plan where you just kind of keep fairly light weight, but maybe just up the reps a little bit, just to kind of keep that lean muscle mass. So I hope this video has been helpful. Obviously this is just my opinion. I know that people have various different opinions on this, which is fine, but I think you know what's best for you. Nobody can tell you what's going to work for you until you try it. People's bodies respond completely different. I personally have found more success in doing LISS. I prefer doing this. I just think it's nice just to put some music on and just walk on the treadmill pretty much for as long as I can. I feel like I've got sweaty and it makes me feel a lot better. I feel like I've achieved a lot more. I probably wouldn't even imagine I would burn more calories doing HIIT, because I feel like I get to a certain point where I'm exhausted and I can't go on anymore, and that's just got more to do with my overall health. You know, obviously you do cardio to improve your cardiovascular health, which is like your heart and, you know, all that kind of systems. I really hope this video has been helpful. I'm so excited to be doing more videos again. Please leave any requests down in the comment section below. Make sure you follow me on all social media accounts, which will also be down below. And yeah, give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!